The day before the college entrance exam, the class beauty suddenly said she had a way to get the whole class into top universities. Sue Warner stood in the middle of the podium, holding up a tiny earbud no bigger than a thumbnail. The eyes of all 56 students were fixed on her hand. Listen up, everyone, stick this device behind your ear, and someone outside the exam hall will relay the answers in real time. My cousin used it before, it's absolutely safe. The classmates who had worked so hard for 3 years, one after another, actually nodded. In my past life, I tried my hardest to stop them. Don't buy it. This year, the exam venue has installed a new type of detector. One scan and you're caught for sure. If you're caught, you'll be banned from taking the exam for life. I talked until my throat went dry, wearing myself out trying to persuade them. After hearing me, they gave up. But at the post-college entrance exam farewell dinner, the whole class teamed up to drink me into unconsciousness and hauled me up to the rooftop of the teaching building. Gu Jingyan clamped a hand around my neck, his fist smashing into my cheekbone. It's all your fault, Lin Yenan. If you hadn't stopped us from buying equipment, we wouldn't have only scored this many points. Sue Warner said that in the class next door, more than a dozen people who used the equipment got into Tsinghua and Peking University. You ruined the futures of all 56 people in our class. Go die. Fists and feet rained down on me. I was forced to the edge of the rooftop, and with a slip of my foot, I went tumbling over. My fingers clamped onto the rooftop railing. I begged them, pull me up, please. 56 faces looked down at me. No one reached out a hand, and everyone was laughing. I couldn't hold on anymore. In the summer when I was 18, I fell from the 6th floor and died on the spot. Then I opened my eyes. There was only 1 day left on the college entrance exam countdown on the blackboard. And Sue Warner was standing at the podium, passionately promoting her crappy headphones. Had been reborn. Looking at her spirited face, I let out a cold smile. In this life, I'd like to see how many of you can get into Tsinghua or Peking University. 1. Nyenan, what are you daydreaming about? Sue Warner's voice pulled me back to reality. Everyone else has already agreed. Only you're left. You're the class monitor. You need to set an example. I swept my gaze across the classroom. 56 familiar faces. In my previous life, when these faces appeared on the rooftop, every one of them had twisted into the faces of vicious demons. Nyenan, do you not want to take part? Sue Warner's tone changed, carrying both probing and caution. You're not going to tell the teacher about this, are you? The entire class's gazes fell on me. In my previous life, it was at this very moment that I stopped them righteously and sternly, and then I got that brutal beating on the rooftop. This life, I reached into my pocket, pulled out a few $100 bills, and slapped them down in front of Sue Warner with a crisp smack. Something this good, wouldn't buying it be a no-brainer? I'll cover the bulk of it. Sue Warner froze for a moment. The whole class fell silent for half a second, then the cheers nearly blew the roof off. Great, with the class monitor's 600 yuan, we've got enough money. I can get into Tsinghua and Peking University this year too. I've finally made my mom's years of early mornings and late nights worth it. Nyenan, I knew you were always the most sensible one. Gu Jingyan walked over from the back row and put an arm around my shoulders. We grew up together, childhood sweethearts, and had agreed to attend the same university. In my last life, the person who laughed the loudest on the rooftop was him. Do you know what I like most about you? Gu Jingyan leaned close to my ear and lowered his voice. Good. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. All right, leave the equipment to Sue Warner. I'm heading out first. There's an exam tomorrow, so I'm going back to study some more. I pulled my shoulder free, picked up my backpack, and walked out. Sue Warner didn't stop me. That's right. In my previous life, when I objected, she practically wanted to nail me to the classroom wall. In this life, I went along with it, and she was happier than anyone else. The moment I walked out of the classroom, I didn't go far. I pressed myself against the wall and hid around the corner in the hallway. As expected, as soon as I left, the atmosphere in the classroom changed. Little brat, what if the exam hall really checks things strictly? Someone spoke up timidly. Sue Warner let out a laugh. I heard her walk to the window and look around outside the hallway. I held my breath, pressed tightly into the blind spot around the corner. She didn't find me, so what if they find out? Sue Warner's voice came through, mixed with coyness and smugness. What if something really happens? Let Lin Yenan take the blame for us. Gu Jingyan's voice followed closely. She's the class monitor and has the best grades. If the equipment is found, she's the most suspicious. With 56 of us all insisting she organized it, that's the best evidence. A burst of laughter came from the classroom, and also, Sue Warner took over. When I teach everyone how to use the equipment tomorrow morning, no one is to call Lin Yenan. Why, not taking her, she has such good grades, why does she need any special arrangement? Let her take the exam herself. But she paid money, isn't that what she should do? She's been managing us for 3 years, this little bit of money can count as management fees. Another burst of laughter. I crouched behind the corner, my nails nearly digging into the plaster. I knew it, for them to let me go so readily. Things could never have been that simple, in my previous life. I was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. This life would be different. I stood up, and went straight to the homeroom teacher's office. To Mr. Chen, I want the recommendation slot for Tsinghua or Peking University this year. Teacher Chen's red pen stopped in her hand. She looked up at me, her face full of disbelief. Nianan, what did you say? I took the admission ticket out of my pocket and placed it in front of her. And also, I'm not taking this year's college entrance exam. Teacher Chen stood up. Are you crazy? You're the top student in the whole school, the one most certain to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, and you're telling me you're not taking the college entrance exam, because I don't need to take part anymore. I looked at her. Teacher Chen, I competed in the National Mathematics Competition Finals last month and won a gold medal, placing 7th nationwide. The admissions office for Tsinghua and Peking University's Strong Foundation program has already sent me a pre-admission confirmation letter. The guaranteed spot is just a backup plan, but even so, there's no downside to taking the college entrance exam. There is a downside. I couldn't explain the matter of my rebirth to her, so I could only give another reason. Teacher Chen, there's a classmate in our class who is planning to bring cheating devices into the exam room. Teacher Chen's expression changed instantly. Who? I shook my head. I'm not at liberty to name names, but I can tell you the scale is not small. I tried to stop it, but it was no use, so I don't want to take this exam. I don't want to have anything to do with these people. Teacher Chen sat back down in his chair. There was a long silence. Nianan, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay. Teacher Chen picked up the phone. I'll take care of the paperwork for the guaranteed admission tonight. She looked at me again. I'll handle the cheating matter. I nodded, picked up my backpack, and headed out. When I reached the doorway, I turned back. Teacher Chen, don't announce this in the class group chat for now. Why? You'll know tomorrow. I don't need Teacher Chen to alert the enemy in advance. I need all 56 of those people to bring their equipment into the exam room without missing a single one, and then have every single one of them get caught. On the way home, the phone rang. Gu Jingyan sent a WeChat message. Good luck tomorrow. Let's get into Tsinghua and Peking University together. Looking at those words, I remembered the force of his hands tightening around my neck in my previous life. I deleted the message and added him to my blacklist. Back home, Mom was in the kitchen simmering chicken soup. Nianan is back. You have an exam tomorrow, so go to bed early tonight. Mom made you some soup. Mom, I stood at the kitchen doorway. I'm not going to the exam room tomorrow. The ladle in Mom's hand fell into the pot. What did you say? I was admitted without taking the exam. Tsinghua and Peking University directly gave me a spot. Mom was stunned for 3 seconds. Then she quickly turned off the stove and rushed out to grab me in a tight hug. My daughter, really, admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University without taking the entrance exam? Yes, but Mom, tomorrow you should still go help out outside the exam venue as usual. You're the parents' committee chair, so you should go. And you? I'll go with you. Why are you going if you're not taking the exam anymore? I took a sip of the chicken soup. Go see the classmates off. You've studied together for 3 years, so at least accompany them for the last stretch. Of course I had to go. If I didn't, wouldn't I be missing a good show? 3 On the day of the college entrance exam, at 5:40 a.m., my dad left home early in the morning. He works in the security department of the Provincial Education Examinations Institute, and during the college entrance examination period, he's even busier, hardly ever stopping for a moment. Before he left, he patted me on the shoulder. I heard from your mom that you got a guaranteed admission. Then don't get involved in this year's exam hall matter. Dad looked at me, as if he wanted to say something but held back. The testing equipment has been upgraded this year. Any electronic signal will be impossible to hide in the exam room, and the penalties have changed too. Before, it was just disqualifying the score. Starting this year, anyone caught cheating will be permanently banned from taking exams. I know. 3 months ago, it was because I overheard Dad and Mom talking about this in the bedroom that I desperately tried to stop my classmates in my previous life. Unfortunately, I was too stupid in my previous life. I managed to dissuade them, but ended up shielding them from disaster instead, and in the end even lost my own life. Don't worry, Dad, I won't get involved with anyone. Dad nodded and hurried out the door. At 7:30, I went with Mom to the school gate, outside the school. It was already packed with parents there to see off the exam takers. Mom, as the head of the parents' committee, started organizing as soon as she arrived, moving bottled water, handing out small fans, and arranging the positions of parent volunteers. I helped carry a few boxes of water, then sat down in an inconspicuous corner by the school gate. At 7:50, the examinees began entering one after another. I saw Su Wan'er and Gu Jingyan. They walked side by side through the crowd, their hands almost clasped together. In my previous life, I never realized that the two of them had already been together. Su Wan'er was even wearing a brand new red dress, saying it was an auspicious sign. They saw me too. Su Wan'er was first stunned. She hadn't expected me to be outside the exam hall instead of inside, but she probably assumed I had arrived early and already checked my things, so she only glanced at me before pulling Gu Jingyan along and quickening her pace toward the exam hall. After walking a few steps, the two of them even turned back, exchanged a smile, and kept walking. That smile was exactly the same as the one on the rooftop in my previous life. Mom walked over and handed me a bottle of water. Hey, Nyenan, isn't that Jingyan? Why didn't he say hi to you? Who's that girl beside him? Classmate. It's nothing. Oh, they know you're not taking the exam, right? I don't know. How come you didn't tell me either? No need. I unscrewed the water bottle and took a sip. They'll know in a bit. At 8 o'clock sharp, the exam hall bell rang. It grew quiet at the school gate. Parents gathered in twos and threes under the shade of the trees, waiting. Mom was chatting nearby with several members of the parents' committee. I sat on the steps, counting the time. It wouldn't be long. This year's detection equipment, jointly developed by my dad's department, was the latest generation. Its scanning accuracy had reached the millimeter level. As long as any electronic device in the exam room was powered on, the system would accurately locate it within 30 seconds. Does this earbud hook behind the ear? What's the difference between that and walking right into a trap? 8:22, rapid footsteps came from the direction of the security office. I stood up, for more than a dozen security personnel and proctors rushed out quickly from the direction of the teaching building, and the noisy voices from the walkie-talkies could be heard even across the playground. Third floor of Building B, a large area of abnormal signals detected. Examination room for Class 11, Grade 12, all students. The parents at the school gate all craned their necks to look inside. Mom stopped what she was doing and came over to my side. What's going on? I don't know. I sat back down and slowly drank some water. In less than 5 minutes, the main doors of the teaching building were pushed open. More than a dozen security personnel escorted a line of students out in single file. 1, 2, 5, 10. In the end, the count was confirmed: 56, not one missing. At a glance, I spotted Su Wan'er in the middle of the crowd. Her red dress stood out strikingly among the people. Gu Jingyan was right beside her, his face as pale as a sheet. What's going on? It's the exam. Why did you bring the kids out here? Su Wan'er's mother was the first to rush forward. Mrs. Su had been selling youtiao at the North Gate morning market for more than 10 years. She had a loud voice and plenty of strength, and with one push she shoved aside the security personnel in front. My youngest was doing just fine in the exam. What right do you have to drag him out? Teacher Lu, who was invigilating, looked extremely grim and glanced at Su's mother. Are you a parent of a student in Class 11? Yes. What about it? Your daughter, along with these 56 students, all brought wireless receiving devices into the exam room. Cheating, caught red-handed. These two words fell into the crowd like stones. In an instant, all the parents turned their eyes over. Mother Su's face turned pale. Impossible. My child has excellent grades. She doesn't need to cheat. You must have made a mistake. No mistake. Teacher Lu coldly held up the transparent plastic bag in his hand. It contained dozens of tiny earbud receivers the size of a thumbnail. 56 students, each with one stuck behind their ear. When the detection equipment sounded the alarm, every signal light in the exam hall lit up. Do you think we'd make a mistake? Gu Jingyan's father also squeezed over. Father Gu, a businessman, was dressed in designer brands, his face full of disbelief. Teacher, my son has been studying diligently for 3 years, and our family has spent over 200,000 yuan just on tutoring fees. How could he possibly cheat? Isn't there some misunderstanding here? Misunderstanding? Teacher Lu's voice rose. This year's college entrance exam has a new rule. Any student caught cheating in the exam room will be permanently banned from taking the gaokao. The exam eligibility of these 56 students is hereby revoked. They will never be allowed to take it again, permanently, lifetime. This time, the crowd really exploded. I leaned against the wall, watching the scene and the crowd descend into utter chaos. Several mothers collapsed onto the ground. Mrs. Su rolled her eyes back and nearly passed out. Father Gu, his face livid, slapped Gu Jingyan across the face. Tell me clearly, where did the cheating device come from? Who bought it? Gu Jingyan clutched his face, his eyes flashing with the ruthless malice I knew all too well. His gaze passed through the crowd and locked straight onto me. It was Lin Nyenan. 5. Everyone in the room followed Gu Jingyan's gaze and looked over. It was Lin Nyenan who made us buy them. Gu Jingyan raised his voice, and his tone carried a ruthless, all-or-nothing determination. She's the class monitor. She said she wasn't confident she could get into Tsinghua or Peking University, and wanted to take a gamble with a cheating device. She's been in charge of us for 3 years. We didn't dare disobey her. Yes, Su Wanner didn't even have time to prepare her expression before she rushed up with red-rimmed eyes. It was organized by Lin Nyenan. She collected the money, and she handed out the equipment. At first, none of us wanted to use it. She forced us to. Teacher, if you're going to punish anyone, just punish her alone. At those words, all the fear in Su's mother instantly turned into anger. Her gaze searched around and instantly locked onto me a few meters away. You little slut. Su's mother charged at me like a crazed wild boar. My husband and I have run a street stall for over 10 years just to put her through school. What right do you have to drag her into this? She rushed up to me and, without a word, raised her hand and slapped me. My mother reacted the fastest, stepping in front of me in one stride. With a loud smack, the slap landed squarely on my mom's face. My mom staggered back 2 steps, and her glasses were knocked flying. What are you doing? I stepped forward to steady Mom. My mother-in-law didn't give me a chance to speak at all. She grabbed my mom by the collar and yanked her to the ground. If the beam is crooked, the rafters will be crooked too. Your daughter harmed 56 children. There's no way you, as her mother, are any good either. Let go. Our Nyenan never even. Before Mom could finish, more parents rushed over. Father Gu clenched his fist and swung it straight at my mom. My family spent over 200,000 yuan just on tutoring fees. She ruined my son's life. A father who was in the building materials business rushed in from the side and kicked into the crowd. More than 100 parents, 56 students, with at least 2 adults from each family, surged forward all at once. At that moment, the security personnel and proctors tried to stop them, but a flood of more than 100 people was not something a few people could hold back. 3 security guards were shoved to the ground. Teacher Lu's sleeve was torn. My dad wasn't there. My mom, with her thin and small frame, was surrounded and shoved by 4 or 5 parents. She clung tightly to protect me and refused to let go. Blood seeped from her temple. Everyone stop. A clear voice pierced through the chaos at the scene. Teacher Chen ran over from the direction of the teaching building. She was usually a gentle, soft-spoken person, but at that moment she shouted at the top of her lungs, "Stop right there, all of you, I've already called the police." Taking advantage of the opening, the security personnel rushed up and forcibly pulled a few of the parents besieging my mom away. Teacher Chen helped my mom up at once, then turned around to face over 100 pairs of bloodshot eyes. What kind of madness is this, going after a woman and a child? You hit people before the matter has even been investigated. Do you still have any regard for the law? Teacher Chen. Su Wanna rushed up and grabbed Teacher Chen's hand as if she had found a lifeline. Tears came just like that, and she cried in a pitiful, pear blossom and rain manner. Teacher Chen, it really was Lin Nyenan who forced us. She's the class monitor, and she said if we didn't buy it, she'd record a disciplinary demerit. She said she wants to get into Tsinghua or Peking University but isn't confident, so she wanted to drag the whole class into using the device together. Even if we got caught, there'd be too many of us to punish. We were forced into it. Teacher Chen. 56 classmates stood behind Su Wanner and spoke in unison. Right, it was Lin Nyenan who forced her. Just punish her alone. Teacher Chen's expression grew increasingly ugly. She stepped up onto the stairs and looked down at everyone from above. Then he spoke. So you're saying Lin Nyenan organized the purchase of cheating devices in order to get into Tsinghua and Peking University? Yes, she was in charge of us, and we didn't dare not to buy them. Teacher Chen's eyelid twitched, then she smiled. 6. Teacher Chen's smile left both Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan baffled. Teacher Chen, what are you laughing at? I laugh at you for making up lies without even thinking. Teacher Chen put his hands behind his back and raised his voice, making sure everyone present could hear him clearly. Lin Nyenan won the gold medal in last month's National Mathematics Competition Finals, placing 7th nationwide. The special admissions group for Tsinghua and Peking University's Strong Foundation program already sent out pre-admission confirmation letters last week. Lin Nyenan, has already been admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University through guaranteed admission. Su Wanner's tears got stuck halfway. Gu Jingyan's face turned from pale to ashen. What? A parent asked in confusion. Guaranteed admission? Then why did she? Teacher Chen didn't wait for him to finish. Besides, since this morning, Lin Yan'an hasn't stepped into the exam room even once. She returned her admission ticket to me yesterday afternoon. She didn't take this college entrance exam at all. You tell me. Teacher Chen's gaze swept across the room before finally settling on Su Wanner's face. How could someone who has already been guaranteed admission to Tsinghua or Peking University, and has never even stepped into an exam room, organize cheating? How could she pressure you? Does she have the power to split into multiple bodies? The room fell completely silent. All the parents' gazes shifted away from me and slowly turned to their own children. What was in those gazes changed within 3 seconds from anger to suspicion, and then to fear. Su's mother let go of my mother's collar. She turned around and seized Su Wanner by the hair. Tell me clearly, who exactly organized this? Su Wanner cried out as she was yanked. Mom, don't pull me, speak. Mother Su's hand was already raised. Father Gu also rushed up to Gu Jingyan. You just said it was Lin Yan'an who forced you. She got a guaranteed admission to Tsinghua and Peking University. And she forced you to cheat. Was your brain kicked by a donkey? My son's grades may be poor, but he would never do something like this. Who was the mastermind among you? Speak. 56 students looked at each other, and not a single one dared to speak. Su Wanner grew anxious. They got in through direct recommendation, so maybe it's just, what is it? Teacher Chen interrupted her. Su Wanner, think carefully before you speak. I have the complete school surveillance records in my hands. Are you sure you still want to keep making things up? Su Wanner opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Gu Jingyan wanted to say something, but a slap from his father sent him back into silence. I stood beside my mother, wiping the blood from her forehead. The parents around us no longer had time to care about me. They began surrounding their own children, questioning them, interrogating them, and shouting at them. Did you want to buy it yourself? Say it. Look at what you've done. Lifetime ban from the exam. Your life is over. Do you understand? Your dad and mom worked from dawn to dusk to put you through school, and this is what you give us after cheating. An elderly man with white hair, probably some student's grandfather, collapsed straight onto the ground and burst into loud, heartbroken sobs. Mother Su looked around, her throat already hoarse. So it wasn't Lin Yan'an, it was my daughter herself. Su Wanner finally burst into tears, but this time, it wasn't an act. Mom, I was deceived too. That device was introduced by my cousin. He said it was 100% safe. Smack. Mrs. Su's palm struck out. Safe? If it's safe, why was he arrested? I told you long ago that man wasn't reliable, but you just wouldn't listen. The sound of police sirens came from afar. 2 police cars stopped at the school gate. 4 police officers walked over. The crowd finally fell silent. 7. The police officer in front, surnamed Wu, was 6 feet 1 inch tall, with a stern expression. Special security incident at the college entrance exam venue. We have received a police report and an automatic alert from the exam administration system. Now all relevant personnel present need to be questioned. Students in one group, parents in another, teachers in another. No one is allowed to collude with one another. Su Wanner's face completely fell. She glanced at Gu Jingyan quickly and gave him a look. I stood a few meters away and saw that look very clearly. The Lin Yan'an of my previous life would never have noticed such a small gesture, but I was no longer the me from my previous life. The police divided the 56 students into 4 groups and took them to 4 different classrooms for statements. Parents were asked to wait on the playground. Teacher Chen took my mom and me to the school infirmary and had the school doctor treat the wound on my mom's forehead. Yan'an, your mom is hurt badly. You'll need to go to the hospital for an x-ray in a little while. My mom pressed down on the gauze on her forehead and insisted that she was fine. Teacher Chen, those parents were beating people like crazy. I already called the police. But that's not enough. I'm going to hold them legally accountable. That's as it should be. Teacher Chen nodded. Mrs. Lin, don't worry. The on-site surveillance has recorded everything. Not a single frame will be missed. I crouched beside Mom, helping her hold down the gauze. Mom, when Dad gets off work later, have him take you to the hospital. I'm fine. Mom grabbed my hand. You, on the other hand, Jing Nian really is an ungrateful wretch. How much have you helped him over the years? Didn't you two agree to go to Tsinghua and Peking University together, and yet he was the first to dump the blame on you? I said nothing. In my previous life, he had even taken my life. What was being blamed on me compared to that? And that girl from the Su family, she's certainly pretty enough, but how can her heart be so cruel? The door to the school clinic was pushed open. Officer Wu walked in. Student Lin. Nyenan, it's me. You also need to make a statement. Okay. I followed Officer Wu to another empty classroom. He opened his notebook and glanced at me. Your homeroom teacher, Teacher Chen, said that you returned your exam admission ticket yesterday and didn't take the exam today. Yes, I've already been specially admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University through the strong base program, so I don't need to take the college entrance exam. Then what are you here at school for today? Accompanying my mom. She's the chair of the parent committee and is volunteering at the entrance. Okay. Officer Wu turned another page. Did you know about your classmate buying cheating equipment? I was silent for 2 seconds. I know. When did you find out? Yesterday afternoon. Su Wanner brought it up in class and even collected money from everyone. Why didn't you stop it? I tried to stop them. I looked at Officer Wu. I told them that this year the exam rooms had upgraded their detection equipment, and that if they took cheating devices in, they'd be caught for sure and banned from taking exams for life. And what happened? They didn't believe it, and then I went to find Teacher Chen. I told her someone in the class was planning to cheat. I returned my admission ticket. Officer Wu nodded and jotted down a few notes in his notebook. The last question. Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan said it was you who organized and bought the equipment. What do you think? I gave Su Wanner 600 yuan yesterday. Officer Wu's pen paused for a moment. You gave her the money? Yes, it was given in front of everyone in the class. Su Wanner took the money in front of 56 people and said it was to pool money to buy equipment, but the organizer, the initiator, and the person who distributed the equipment were all Su Wanner from start to finish. I gave the money because, I paused, because if I didn't, they'd suspect I was going to report them. The last time I tried to speak up and stop them, the whole class looked at me like I was a traitor. So you gave them the money to protect yourself? Yes, and then you went to find the teacher? Yes. Officer Wu closed the notebook. Understood. You can go back now. He stood up, walked to the door, then paused for a moment. We reviewed the surveillance footage from the school hallway. You left the classroom at 4:17 p.m. yesterday and entered the homeroom teacher's office at 4:23 p.m. There is a record of the entire process. The accounts of Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan are seriously inconsistent with the surveillance footage. We know what's going on. 8. After Officer Wu left, I returned to the school infirmary. The wound on Mom has already been treated, and Dad has also rushed over, his face full of anxiety. Nyenan, how is your mom? It's nothing serious, just a superficial injury. It'd be safer to go to the hospital and have it checked. Dad glanced at the bandage on Mom's forehead, and his whole body was trembling. When I was on duty at the examination center, I got a report saying that all the students in class 11 had been caught cheating. I was wondering at the time. My daughter was in class 11, how could that be? Then I called and found out you had withdrawn your admission ticket. Then I heard that some parents had caused a disturbance and hit someone, and that your mom was injured. Dad's voice grew hoarse. Dad, it's okay now. I held his hand. What needs to be handled, the police will handle. Dad clenched his fists. Those parents who beat up my wife and my daughter, this matter cannot just be let go. It won't be let go. I looked at him. Dad, you work at the Examination Institute. You took part in the entire upgrade plan for the testing equipment this year, and you know better than anyone the consequences of cheating. What you need to do now is take Mom to the hospital. Leave the rest to me. Dad froze for a moment. He probably hadn't expected his 18-year-old daughter to speak so calmly, but he didn't say anything else, and helped Mom out the door. I watched them leave through the school gate, then turned and walked toward the playground. The playground had already descended into utter chaos. Some parents were crouched on the ground crying, some were grabbing their children by the collar and slapping them across the face, some were on the phone pulling strings, and some were standing frozen in place, completely at a loss. 56 families had collapsed in the span of one morning. I leaned against the railing by the edge of the playground, watching this tableau of humanity from afar. A figure squeezed out from the crowd and walked toward me. Zhou Yi. He was the quietest boy in our class, sitting by the window in the last row, and for 3 years he had hardly ever argued with anyone. In my previous life, among the 56 people on that rooftop in my past life, it seemed he wasn't there. Lin Yenan. Zhou Yi walked up to me, a hint of awkwardness on his face. Are you okay? Is your mom all right? Nothing serious. Why did you come out too? Zhou Yi fell silent for a moment. I didn't buy the equipment. I looked at him. Yesterday when Su Wanna mentioned it, I thought it sounded too ridiculous, so I didn't take part, but she told the others that I had paid, when in fact I hadn't. so you didn't bring any equipment into the exam room either, no? But, Zhou gave a bitter smile. As soon as the alarm sounded in the exam room, the proctor asked the whole class to stand up for a search. I had nothing on me, but the proctor still took everyone out first. The whole class was dealt with, whether it was useful or not, so you were disqualified too, for now. Yes, the police said they'd need to verify it before confirming anything. I've already given my statement, and they said if it's confirmed that I wasn't carrying any device, my exam eligibility will be restored. I nodded. Zhou was innocent. There was no him on the rooftop in the previous life, not because he was kind, but because he simply hadn't attended the farewell dinner that day, because no one had called him in class. He was just a transparent person, but at least he didn't harm me. Thank you for telling me, Zhou turned to leave, then stopped and looked back. By the way, I stayed in the classroom until everyone else had left yesterday. I heard everything Su Wanner said after you left. My fingers moved slightly. What did she say? She said that if anything happened, you should take the blame. Gu Jingyan said the same thing. He said you had the best grades and were therefore the most suspicious, with 56 mouths all biting down on you alone. And one more thing, Zhou looked at me. She said that when she teaches everyone how to use the equipment tomorrow, don't notify you, because your grades are good, you don't need the equipment. The 600 yuan will be considered your management fee for serving as class monitor these past 3 years. My expression did not change at all, because of those words. I heard them even at the corner of the corridor. Zhou, did you tell the police these words? I did, word for word. Fine, good. 9. The chaos on the playground continued throughout the entire morning. At lunchtime, Officer Wu gathered the parents in the school auditorium. I didn't leave. I sat in the back row of the auditorium, looking at the more than 100 people packed into the front. 56 students were asked to sit on the left. The parents sat on the right. There was an aisle in between. Officer Wu stood on the podium, holding a document in his hand. After the morning questioning and investigation, we have now initially sorted out what happened. First, the organizer of the cheating equipment purchase was Su Wanner. The channel through which it was introduced came from her cousin, and the funds for the equipment were collectively raised by the whole class. Second, the so-called organizer, Lin Yan'an, previously identified by Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan, was verified to have formally withdrawn from the college entrance exam registration through the school the day before the exam, and to have obtained a pre-admission qualification to Tsinghua University and Peking University through the National Strengthening Foundation program. Lin Yan'an did not enter the examination room today and did not engage in any cheating behavior. Third, Officer Wu glanced at Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan. Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan made false statements during the inquiry, intending to shift the responsibility for cheating onto innocent people. This act itself already amounts to suspected false accusation and framing. Su Wanner's face turned pale in an instant. I didn't. Quiet. Officer Wu raised his hand to stop her. Next, regarding the handling of the cheating itself, the Education Examinations Institute will provide an explanation. Director Lin from the Examination Institute, is he here? The door at the back of the lecture hall was pushed open. My father walked in. He was wearing the Exam Institute's work uniform, holding a stack of files in his hand, his expression as cold as a wall. He swept his gaze across the room, pausing for a second on Madame Su's face, the woman who had slapped his wife an hour earlier. Then, he walked up to the podium. I am the Deputy Director of the Security and Protection Division of the Provincial Education Examination Institute, specifically responsible for implementing the anti-cheating technical measures for this college entrance exam. The entire room erupted in an uproar. Lin Yan'an's father is from the Examination Institute. No wonder she knew in advance that there would be new equipment in the exam hall. Su Wanner suddenly raised her head, as if she had grabbed a lifeline. Officer, her father is the one in charge of this matter. She knew the inside information in advance, and she deliberately didn't tell us. Quiet. Officer Wu interrupted her in a deep voice. My dad didn't even glance at Su Wanner. He opened the file and began reading in a businesslike tone. According to Order No. 33 of the Ministry of Education and Article 17 of this year's National College Entrance Examination Administration Regulations, bringing electronic communication devices into the exam and showing signs of use will be deemed cheating, and all scores for that examination session will be cancelled. At the same time, the candidate will be suspended from taking that exam for 1 to 3 years. This year's newly added provision: if examination confirms the use of an external signal transmission cheating device, it shall be regarded as serious cheating. and the candidate will be permanently barred from taking the National Unified College Entrance Examination. Having finished reading that far, he closed the file. The technical appraisal results are in. All 56 of these devices are external signal transmission type. In other words, his gaze swept across the 56 faces on the left. Lifetime ban from taking the exam. No one knew who shouted it first. Then the entire auditorium fell apart. A mother sprang up from her seat, rushed to her daughter, and wrapped her arms around her daughter's head, crying her eyes out. A father suddenly stood up and kicked over the chair in front of him. Sue's mother seemed to have had all the strength drained from her body, shrinking into the chair, her lips turning purple. Father Gu pointed at Sue Warner and scolded her harshly. "It was you, you little brat. You were the one who urged my son to buy that equipment. You ruined my son. You pay me back for my son." "What does this have to do with my daughter?" Mother Sue suddenly shot back. "Your son chose to buy it himself. Who forced him? Your daughter organized it. Even the police said so. Then your son falsely accused Lin Yenin. Is he any good?" The two families started fighting right there in the auditorium. The police officer stepped forward and pulled them apart. I sat in the back row, silent. In my previous life, these people teamed up to trample me underfoot. In this life, they ended up fighting among themselves first. The chaos in the auditorium lasted nearly 20 minutes before it was finally brought under control. Officer Wu called for backup, and it was only after great effort that the parents were forced back into their seats. Everyone had red eyes. Some were crying, some were cursing, and some sat there dazed, motionless. Only Sue Warner did not cry. Her eyes darted around, and I knew she was thinking of a way out. "Indeed, officer, I have something to say." Sue Warner stood up and forced out a few tears. "I did initiate this matter, I admit it, but," her finger pointed at me again, "although Lin Yenin didn't enter the exam room, she knew in advance that the security checks there would be strict. Her father works at the Examinations Institute. She knew we would be caught. Not only did she not tell us, she even gave us 600 yuan and encouraged us to buy it. She did it on purpose. She just wanted to hurt us." These words lit a fire in the parents' group. Everyone's eyes turned to me again. "Is that true?" A mother wearing a gold necklace stood up and pointed at me, questioning me. "You knew long ago that there was new equipment in the exam room, and you didn't tell the classmates. You even paid to encourage it. Do you secretly want all our kids to fail?" A chair creaked in the back row. Zhou Yi stood up. "I'll say a few words." Everyone looked at him. "I am a student of class 11. I did not buy any cheating device, and I did not use any cheating device." Yesterday afternoon, when Sue Warner raised the idea of buying equipment in class, Lin Yenin was the first in the class to state her opposition. I was taken aback. I didn't object. It was my past self who objected. In this life, I just gave her the money. Zhou Yi glanced at me and continued. "Before Sue Warner brought up the plan, Lin Yenin had privately told me that this year the exam venues had upgraded their detection equipment, so I mustn't do anything stupid." I opened my mouth to speak. I did tell him. It was during the break between classes 3 days ago. I mentioned it casually and forgot about it, but the rest of the class didn't listen. Zhou Yi's voice was very calm. Sue Warner said her cousin guaranteed it was 100% safe, and the whole class believed her. Lin Yenin saw that she couldn't be talked out of it, so she gave the money, because if she didn't, given Sue Warner's personality, Sue Warner would suspect Lin Yenin of ratting them out. As one of the people in the class who knows Sue Warner best, I can tell all the parents here. Zhou Yi's gaze fell on Sue Warner's face. The exact words Sue Warner said after Lin Yenin left yesterday were, "If it gets found out, let Lin Yenin take the blame for us." Gu Jingyan's exact words were, "We have 56 mouths here. If we all insist it was her, that's the best human evidence." They never intended to let Lin Yenin use the equipment from the start, once they took the 600 yuan. That was that. Sue Warner said that was called at the management fee. As for blaming Lin Yenin after the incident, this wasn't an impulsive move, it had been planned all along. The entire room fell silent for 5 seconds. Sue Warner's face turned the color of pig liver. "Zhou Yi, you're talking nonsense. Every word I said has already been recorded in detail in the statement just now." Zhou Yi's expression remained blank. "Including what you said. When we teach everyone how to use the equipment tomorrow, nobody should call Lin Yenin." "Including what?" Gu Jingyan said. "Her grades are the best, so her suspicion is the greatest." Every single word. Sue Warner collapsed back into her chair. Officer Wu wrote a few lines in the notebook and closed it. "All right, the sequence of events in this matter is now basically clear. Sue Warner organized the purchase and distribution of cheating devices. Gu Jingyan assisted in organizing it. and the other 54 students knowingly used cheating devices of their own free will. As for the part about falsely accusing Lin Yenin, he glanced at Sue Warner. We will handle that as a separate case. 11. At 3 in the afternoon, the parents left the school one after another. Some were helped away by their family members, some turned back at the doorway and hurled a couple of insults in Sue Warner's direction, and others did nothing at all, just staring fixedly at the back of their child's head without saying a word. What was in those eyes was far more complicated than anger, disappointment, chill, despair. It was exactly the same as the look on my mom's face in my previous life when she watched me fall from the building. I stood at the school gate and saw Sue's mother from afar, dragging Sue Warner as they stumbled toward the school exit. Sue Warner dragged her feet, and the hem of her red dress was dragged along the ground, getting covered in a large patch of dirt. Father Gu drove his black Audi to pick up Gu Jingnian, and when he got out, he slammed the car door shut with a loud bang. Just as Gu Jingnian opened the rear door, Father Gu kicked the back of his knee. Kneel down. Gu Jingnian collapsed directly beside the car. Dad, what are you calling Dad for? Starting today, you're no longer my son. After roaring, Father Gu shoved him into the back seat, slammed the door, walked around to the driver's seat, floored the gas, and drove off. The black sedan disappeared around the corner. I withdrew my gaze. Teacher Chen walked over from behind and patted me on the shoulder. Nyenin, you were wrong today. I'm not wronged. Your mom's injury. My dad went to the hospital with her. He just called. She got 4 stitches, and the bone wasn't injured. Teacher Chen sighed. Those parents went too far. They even dared to surround and beat up your mom, a weak woman. Teacher Chen, I looked at her. This matter won't end here. I won't let either Sue Warner and Gu Jingnian falsely accuse me, or the incident of them hitting my mom go unpunished. Teacher Chen was silent for a while, then nodded. You should fight for the rights and interests you're entitled to. Your dad works within the system, so he should know better than I do how to go through legal procedures. When the school needs to step in, just say the word. Okay. I picked up my backpack and prepared to leave. My phone vibrated. A WeChat message from an unfamiliar account. Lin Yenin, don't get too smug too soon. I looked at it for 3 seconds, took a screenshot, and didn't reply. Did Sue Warner switch accounts this quickly to threaten me, or was it Gu Jingnian? I saved the screenshot and turned off my phone. By the time I got home, Mom and Dad had already come back from the hospital. Mom's forehead was wrapped in gauze, and she was leaning against the sofa with her eyes closed. Dad was sitting beside her, clutching a medical report, his fingers trembling. Nyenin, Dad saw me, his voice hoarse. Your mom's injury is a minor injury, level 2. A case can be filed. File it. I put down my school bag. Not only do we need to file a case, I also want to hold Sue's mother criminally responsible for intentional injury. Gu's father also got involved and hit you, and I want to pursue that too. None of them will get away. Dad looked at me for a long time. Okay. He took out his phone and started making calls. I walked into my room and closed the door. The wall was covered with certificates from the past 3 years. First prize in the provincial math competition, first prize in the national preliminary round, and a gold medal in the finals. In the corner was a pre-admission confirmation letter sent by Tsinghua and Peking universities, in a craft paper envelope printed with the school emblem. No one in the class had ever cared about any of this. They only knew I was the class monitor, had good grades, and was willing to help with extra tutoring. Sue Warner had never asked me why I was often away on weekends. Gu Jingnian had never cared about the contest materials in my backpack. For 3 years, I tutored all 56 people in my class, wrote study plans for them, and organized review materials. The way they repaid me was by pushing me off the rooftop. That will never happen again. In this life, I'm going to settle every single debt, one by one. 12. The next morning, Mom didn't get up because of a headache. Dad warmed up some porridge for her and left it by the bedside before going to work. While I was putting away the dishes, my phone started vibrating non-stop. It wasn't WeChat, it was Weibo. An article suddenly appeared on the local city trending list, titled, "The Truth Behind the College Entrance Exam Cheating Case, How a Recommended Admissions Student Framed 56 Classmates." I opened it and took a quick look. The whole article claimed that I had known in advance that the exam venue had new detection equipment, deliberately lured my classmates into buying cheating devices, then bowed out of the college entrance exam myself like a cicada shedding its shell, and sat back, watching the entire class be permanently barred from taking exams. It was written so convincingly that it even included my father's job title. His father is the Deputy Director of the Security and Protection Division of the Provincial Education Examinations Institute, and is precisely the person in charge of this anti-cheating system. The accompanying photo was a candid shot taken from the school gate, showing my side profile as I stood at the entrance watching my classmates being escorted out of the exam hall. The angle was chosen very cleverly. From that angle, my expression looked like I was smiling. The comments section was already in an uproar, so it was a setup by a guaranteed admission student. That's so underhanded. The father is in charge of the anti-cheating system, and the daughter deliberately lured her classmates into cheating. Is this entrapment? 56 students banned from taking exams for life. So many families were ruined. The instigator was admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University without exams herself. How is that fair? It is strongly recommended to thoroughly investigate Lin Nianan's family, abusing power for personal gain. Out of several thousand comments, nearly all of them were unanimously criticizing me. I looked up the account that posted it, Jiangxing Online. Xiaoru talks about things. Xiaoru, Su Weiner's cousin, Su Ru, a local social media content creator with over 100,000 followers. At this point in my previous life, I was already dead and hadn't experienced any of this, but I knew Su Weiner's methods all too well. If she couldn't win head-on, she'd stir up public opinion. She used this trick more than 10 times over her 3 years in high school. Whoever didn't listen to her, she would post passive-aggressive rants in the class group chat, making people too afraid to oppose her anymore. Only this time, the battlefield moved from the class group chat to the internet. I took hundreds of screenshots of the article and comments and saved them all. Then I called Officer Wu. Officer Wu, Su Weiner's family has posted false information online to defame me. We've seen the article and have already notified the cyber monitoring department to handle it. Keep the screenshots, they can be used as evidence later. Okay. After hanging up, I sat at the desk and flipped through those screenshots. No rush. The splash Su Ru's article could make was limited. There was no substantive evidence at all, only a one-sided account and emotionally manipulative wording, but she gave me a wake-up call. Su Weiner is not someone who will admit defeat until the very last second. In my previous life, she was able to fabricate the huge lie that more than a dozen people in the neighboring class used cheating devices to get into Tsinghua and Peking University to frame me. In this life, she'll only go even further. I have to strike first, turn on the computer. I spent 2 hours organizing all the evidence I had into a complete document. The conversation I overheard yesterday at the corner of the hallway, although I didn't record it, Zhou Yi can testify to it. The process of Su Weiner collecting money in class. Teacher Chen can verify the timeline of my returning my exam admission ticket. The surveillance footage at the school gate can prove that I never entered the exam room the entire time. Officer Wu's written statement, and the full hallway surveillance footage showing me leaving the classroom to find Teacher Chen. Then, I did one thing. I didn't plan to let Su Weiner control the narrative. I used my own account to post an article. No emotions, no accusations, just the facts, a timeline, surveillance screenshots, retrieved for me by Teacher Chen, the receipt confirming the return of the exam admission ticket, and photos of the pre-admission confirmation letter from Tsinghua and Peking University. The last sentence, I was admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University through recommendation, did not take the college entrance examination, and never entered the exam venue. Cheating has nothing to do with me. All of the above can be corroborated by the school's surveillance records and the police's written statements. I will hold the rumor mongers legally accountable. It was sent out at 10 in the morning. By noon, it had been reposted over 10,000 times. The tide has turned, so it was Su Weiner's cousin who first spread rumors and attacked the victim. They've already secured guaranteed admission to Tsinghua and Peking University. Would they still need to cheat? Are you even thinking straight? 56 people teaming up to frame one person. That's the truly chilling part, isn't it? National Mathematics Competition gold medalist. What kind of genius is this girl? The tone of the comments on Su Ru's article also shifted. Someone started digging into Su Ru's past and found that she had already been reported twice before for posting false information. At 2 in the afternoon, Su Ru deleted the article, but the screenshots were already all over the place. It couldn't be deleted. 13. On the third day, there was no sign that things were calming down. On the contrary, they only grew bigger. Reporter from the local TV station called. Someone had leaked the incident to the media. I declined the interview. Dad also refused. Anything said now will be taken out of context. Let's respond after the legal process is complete. Dad was calmer about this than I was, but some people were even more anxious than we were. At 4 in the afternoon, the doorbell rang. At home, when I opened the door, I saw 3 people standing outside, Father Gu, Mother Gu, and a middle-aged man in a sharp suit. Lin Nianan, is your dad home? Father Gu's tone was 90 degrees more polite than it had been yesterday at school. The middle-aged man proactively handed over a business card. I'm Mr. Gu's lawyer. My surname is Fong. We need to talk to your parent. I didn't take the business card. Talk about what? What happened yesterday was a misunderstanding, Father Gu forced out a smile. Nyenan, Uncle was too emotional yesterday, about your mother being injured. I'm truly sorry. We're willing to cover all medical expenses, and additionally compensate for emotional distress. What amount do you think would be appropriate? He took an envelope from his briefcase and handed it to me. This contains 100,000 yuan. Take it. Think of it as Uncle's token of regard for you. I glanced at that envelope. What's the catch? What? You wouldn't be giving me 100,000 yuan without any conditions, would you? Attorney Fong took over the conversation. We hope that student Lin and Mr. Lin can withdraw the intentional injury charges against Mr. Gu, and delete the related remarks online, no longer pursuing this matter. And one more thing, Attorney Fong pushed up his glasses, if possible. We also hope that student Lin can issue a statement proving that Gu Jingnian was only an unwilling participant in this matter, not the mastermind. This would be of great help for him in seeking a lighter punishment later on. I laughed. You want me to say nice things about the guy who beat my mom? Am I supposed to give false testimony for the people who framed me? You think 100,000 yuan can buy my conscience? The price can be negotiated. It's not a matter of price. My right hand gripped the doorknob. Mr. Gu, when you punched my dad in the face at the school gate yesterday, why didn't you think about coming to talk? When your son pointed at me and said, it was Lin Nianan who forced us to buy it, why didn't you have your lawyer come out and say, this is just a misunderstanding? My mom got 4 stitches, she still has a headache today and can't even get out of bed. You come to my door clutching 100,000 yuan. What exactly do you take me, Lin Nianan, for? Mr. Gu's expression changed. I'm here to talk properly. I'm speaking to you properly too. I opened my phone and pulled up a surveillance screenshot. In the image, Father Gu's fist had just landed on my dad's face. This surveillance footage has already been handed over to the public security authorities. Your intentional injury charge is not something that can be settled with 100,000 yuan. As for your son, I looked at him. He's on the rooftop. I stopped. That was from my previous life. There was no rooftop incident in this life. He falsely accused me of organizing cheating during the interrogation. That charge alone is enough to get him in serious trouble, and you want me to help him get a lighter sentence? Dream on. I slammed the door shut with a bang. 14. After closing the door, I leaned against the door and took a couple of breaths. The words were harsh just now, but Father Gu came to the door with a lawyer, which shows they had already started to panic. The fact that they were panicking was a good thing. People who panic make more mistakes. As I expected, at 9 o'clock that night, Sue Warner came to see me. It wasn't WeChat, and it wasn't a phone call. She showed up right downstairs from my building. Mom was getting ready to wash up, and Dad was in the study on the phone handling work matters. Through the window, I saw a figure standing beneath the streetlight downstairs. Sue Warner was wearing an oversized t-shirt, her hair hanging loose, and she looked noticeably more haggard. A person was standing beside her. Gu Jingnian. I went downstairs. If you have something to say, say it. Don't keep wandering around in front of my house and disturbing the neighbors. Sue Warner raised her head. Her eyes red. Nyenan, please, beg me for what? Please help me, help us. She took a step forward, her voice choked with tears. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to pin the blame on you, and I definitely shouldn't have asked my cousin to post that article, but we really had no other choice. Permanently barred from taking the exam. Nyenan, my life is ruined. My mom has been running a stall at the morning market for more than 10 years just to put me through college, and now she can't even eat 3 meals a day. Could you talk to someone at the exam office and ask if they can give me one chance, just once? If it means delaying the exam for 2 years, that's fine, just don't permanently bar me. I looked at her, that tear-streaked face. In my previous life, it was this same face smiling as it watched me fall from the 6th floor on the rooftop. Sue Warner, do you think I would help you, Nyenan, when you said in the classroom that you wanted me to take the fall for you? Did you ever think about my future? When you pointed at me at the school gate and said I forced you to buy equipment, did you ever think my mom would be surrounded and beaten by a group of parents? When you asked your cousin to post an article spreading rumors and attacking me, did you ever think my family of 3 would be cursed at by millions? At those times, why didn't you cry? Sue Warner's lips trembled a few times, but she couldn't say anything. Gu Jingnian took a step forward. Nyenan, don't be so absolute. His voice was husky, and an emotion I couldn't understand flickered in his eyes. I've known you for 18 years. We grew up together, don't you care about our friendship at all? Friendship? I stared at him, when you grabbed my throat and pinned me to the ground. What friendship were you thinking of? Gu Jingyan froze. What? When did I ever pinch you? I grit my teeth, that was from my previous life. I can't say that. Yesterday at the school gate, when you framed me. I'm talking about what happened before. Gu Jingyan interrupted me. He took a step forward, less than half a meter away from me. Nyenan, things have come to this already. I admit I was wrong. Okay, I'll apologize to you, apologize to your mom, whatever you want, but you can't wipe them out completely. Help me go talk to your dad and see if there's any room for leniency. There's no room for leniency. I take a step back, creating distance. A lifetime ban from taking exams is a new Ministry of Education regulation. It's not something my dad alone can change, and also, I took my phone out of my pocket and opened a file. Not only will I not help you, I'm going to sue you, Sue Warner, for the crime of false accusation and framing. Gu Jingyan, the crime of false accusation and framing. Mother Sue, the crime of intentional injury. Father Gu, the crime of intentional injury. Your cousin Sue Ru, the crime of online defamation. The lawyer's letter will be delivered to each of your homes tomorrow. Sue Warner's body swayed. You're insane. I'm not crazy. I turned and walked back into the building. The one who's supposed to be crazy isn't me. When I reached the entrance of the building, I heard a rush of hurried footsteps behind me. Gu Jingyan rushed up and grabbed my arm. Lin Yenan, do you have to force us to our deaths? His fingers clamped tightly around my arm, his knuckles turning white, just like the force with which he had gripped my neck on the rooftop in my previous life. Let go, promise me first. I said let go. The window upstairs lit up. My dad's voice came down from the third floor. Nyenan, who's down there? Gu Jingyan let go of my hand as if he'd been burned. I ignored him and quickly walked into the building entrance and went upstairs. After I got home and locked the door, I glanced at the red marks on my arm where he had pinched me. This man, killing me in my previous life wasn't enough. In this life, he still wants to threaten me. I took out my phone and sent Officer Wu a message. Gu Jingyan just came to the building downstairs at my place to harass me. He grabbed my arm and left marks. I took photos. There is surveillance footage at the entrance of the residential complex. Officer Wu replied 3 minutes later. Received. Will retrieve the surveillance footage right away. In this situation, you can apply for a personal protection order. Fine. Step by step. 15. Over the next 4 days, the situation escalated rapidly. Deleting the article was useless. Screenshots of it were shared by countless people, and the comments section turned into a battlefield between two camps. One side cursed me, saying I was a beneficiary of favoritism who got in by fishing, and that I had used my father's position to set a trap and hurt people. One group supported me, saying that the 56 people cheating was their own doing and that the blame couldn't be placed on the falsely accused victims. Just as the condemnation and support for me surged in together, Sue Warner made her move again. On the morning of the 5th day, Officer Wu called. Student Lin Yenan, Sue Warner's side has submitted a new set of evidence materials. What evidence? A video. We need you to come to the station and take a look. I arrived at the police station. Officer Wu led me into a conference room. There was a laptop on the table, with a frame of video paused on the screen. This was submitted by Sue Warner through her lawyer yesterday, claiming it was a video shot on a mobile phone provided by her classmate. Officer Wu pressed the play button. The scene shows our class's classroom. In the scene, a girl in a school uniform is standing on the podium, handing things down to the students below. Her side profile, it was me, to be exact, a side profile that looks like mine. The shot was taken from a window seat in the back of the classroom. It's blurry, but you can tell that the girl at the podium is passing something to the students in the front row one by one. Combined with Sue Warner's account, this is the conclusive proof that Lin Yenan was distributing cheating devices in class. Do you have anything to say? Officer Wu's tone was very calm. I stared at the screen for 10 seconds. This video is fake. Why? 3 reasons. I pointed to the lower left corner of the screen. First, the college entrance exam countdown written on the blackboard in the scene says there are 3 days left. But Sue Warner herself said she only brought up the plan to buy the equipment the day before the exam. The timing doesn't match. I pointed to the right side of the screen again. Second, the cuffs of the school uniform I'm wearing in the scene are blue. The custom class uniform for class 11 has red cuffs, and only class 8 in the entire school has blue cuffs. This video is very likely a splice and edit job made by Sue Warner or someone she hired, using footage from another classroom. Third, I handed the phone to Officer Wu. You can retrieve the surveillance footage from the school hallway for the 3 days before the college entrance exam, if I had appeared on the podium handing out anything during that time, the hallway cameras would definitely have captured me entering and leaving the classroom. If there is no sign of me in the hallway surveillance footage, then this video is forged. Forging evidence is a criminal offense. Officer Wu looked at me for a few seconds. We've already pulled the hallway surveillance, so what happened? Among all the hallway surveillance footage from the 3 days before the college entrance exam, the only record of you appearing in Class 11's classroom was the afternoon before the exam. On the same day Sue Warner proposed the plan, you left the classroom at 4:17 and never went back after that. That is to say, Officer Wu closed the laptop. The recording time and content of this video do not match the actual record. He stood up and walked to the door. Sue Warner's lawyer is still waiting outside. I'll go tell him. Forging evidence is even more serious than cheating. The door closed. I sat in the conference room, listening to the conversation coming from outside the door. Sue Warner's voice drifted in from the end of the hallway. How is that possible? That video clearly. Attorney Fong lowered his voice, but a few key words still came through. Fabricated evidence, criminal detention, possible sentence. Sue Warner's voice sharpened. Impossible. That video is. Then came a crackling clatter, as if something had been knocked over. Immediately after, there was a burst of hurried footsteps. The conference room door was abruptly pushed open. Sue Warner rushed in. Her face was as pale as paper, both hands clenched into fists, her fingernails digging into her palms until blood seeped out. She stared at me intently. In my previous life, on the rooftop, she had stared at me just like this. There was no guilt in that look, no fear, only, Lin Yenin. She said each word one by one. You just wait. 16. Officer Wu strode in 2 steps and pulled Sue Warner away. Sue Warner, you're threatening the parties inside the police station. Where do you think you are? Sue Warner was dragged out of the conference room by 2 police officers. In the corridor, Lawyer Fong's repeated apologies could be heard, along with Sue's mother's hysterical sobbing and cries. Officer Wu poured me a glass of water. Don't be afraid. We'll file the case directly for the fake video issue. I'm not afraid. I took a sip of water. Officer Wu, besides the public security authorities filing a case for her forging the video and framing me, can I file a separate civil lawsuit? Yes, for defamation and false accusation. Either a criminal attached civil suit or a separate civil action is fine. Okay. I stood up and picked up my bag. Then I'll go back and prepare the materials. When I walked out of the police station, the sunlight was very nice. Sue Warner was being supported by Sue's mother as she sat on the steps at the entrance. Lawyer Fong was making a phone call beside her, and his expression was very unpleasant. As I passed by her, she looked up. I didn't look at her. I walked straight past her. Behind me, I heard Madame Sue's lowered voice cursing, but this time, she wasn't cursing me, she was cursing Sue Warner. What on earth is in your head? A forged video. Are you trying to pile on more charges against yourself? Mom, I didn't forge it. It was the video Gu Jingnian gave me. Whoever gave it to you doesn't matter. You were the one who handed it in when it was used. After I got home, I called Dad. Sue Warner handed over a fake video to the police, and it has already been exposed. Officer Wu said they will file a separate case for evidence forgery. There was silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Was it AI face swapping, or editing and splicing? Splicing. They used classroom footage from another class with a blurry side profile, and the timeline doesn't match the hallway surveillance. Crude workmanship. Dad's tone turned cold. Then that's not something a student could have done alone. What do you mean? Video editing software, sourcing materials, and choosing surveillance blind spots. There's no way a young girl who just finished the college entrance exam could have done it on her own. There's someone behind her. I thought about it. Gu Jingnian, his father is more likely. The Gu family patriarch is in business, so he has people under him and resources. I'll follow up on this. Stay home and keep your mom company. Don't go out. After I hung up, I sat at the table and thought for a while. Gu's father, in my previous life, when Gu Jingnian attacked me on the rooftop, he used the exact same tactics as his father, first trying to play the emotional card, then resorting to force when that didn't work, and if that still failed, using underhanded tricks. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I turned on the computer and went through all the evidence I had on hand again, arranging it according to the timeline. 1. The entire process of Sue Warner initiating the purchase of cheating devices in the classroom. Zhou Yi's testimony. 2. The conversation in which Sue Warner and Gu Jingnian conspired to frame me. Zhou Yi's testimony plus indirect corroboration from the hallway surveillance footage. 3. Time record of when I returned the admission ticket. Teacher Chen plus School Archives. 4. Technical Appraisal Report of the cheating device seized in the examination room, issued by the Examination Institute. 5. The entire process of Su Weiner and Gu Jingyan falsely accusing me at the school gate, on-site surveillance plus multiple witnesses. 6. The entire process of Madame Su assaulting my mother, on-site surveillance plus injury examination report. 7. The entire process of Gu's father beating my dad, captured on surveillance footage. 8. Su Ru published defamatory articles. Screenshots preserved plus records from the Cybercrime Monitoring Department. 9. Su Wanner submitted a forged video, archived by the public security authorities. 10. Gu Jingyan harassed me downstairs at my home and scratched my arm, community surveillance footage plus photos. 10 concrete pieces of evidence, each one points to the same fact: they didn't just cheat, they also systematically framed, harmed, and threatened me afterward. I saved the files and sent them to the lawyer Dad had recommended. Attorney Lin, is this enough to file a case? Lawyer Lin replied very quickly, more than enough: false accusation and framing, intentional injury, fabrication of evidence, online defamation, any one of these alone would be enough for them to suffer, packaged together, enough to make their whole family pay the price. I typed 2 characters, Su, 17, the morning after the lawyer's letter was sent. Gu's mother came. She didn't bring a lawyer, she came alone. She was wearing a wrinkled dress, her eyes were swollen and red, and her hair wasn't properly combed. Unlike the glamorous Mrs. Gu from before, I stopped her at the entrance of the building. Aunt Gu, is something the matter? As soon as Gu's mother saw me, tears began to fall. Nyenan, I'm begging you. With a thud, she knelt down. I took a step back. Miss Gu, please get up. I'm not getting up. If you don't agree to help me, I'll kneel here until I die. She clutched at my trouser leg, her face smeared with tears and snot. Nyenan, you and Jingyan grew up together since childhood. He watched you grow up in diapers. I know what he did was wrong, but he's only 18. His life can't be ruined like this. You want me to drop the lawsuit? I'm begging you. When he framed me and made me bear the blame of being permanently barred from taking exams, did anyone plead for me? Mrs. Gu's sobbing caught in her throat for a moment. Aunt Gu, I pried her hands off my trouser leg. Everything your son did was his own choice. False accusations, threats, harassment. None of it was forced by me. Instead of coming to beg me, you should go home and discipline your son. If you can't control him, the law will do it for you. After saying that, I turned and went back into the building. Behind me came Madame Gu's heart-wrenching cries. I didn't look back. In my previous life, when her son watched me fall from the 6th floor, she probably didn't shed a single tear either. In the afternoon, even bigger news came. Officer Wu called. Lin Nyenan, I need to inform you of a situation. Following the channel through which Su Wanner purchased the cheating device, we found that the supplier provided by her cousin Su Mao was actually backed by a cross-provincial college entrance exam cheating network. A network, yes, not only your Jiangqing No. 1 high school, but students from at least 3 other schools in the province bought devices through the same channel. Su Mao was the middleman. He took the devices from the supplier and then resold them to students at a markup. The profit was substantial. He added 2,000 yuan to each set of devices. I quickly did the math in my head. There are 56 people in our class, so split evenly it would be only a few hundred yuan per person, but the total amount Su Wanner and Su Mao were handling should be far more than that. There's one more thing. Officer Wu's tone turned suggestive. In the other 3 schools we checked, one of them purchased cheating equipment through a company called Jingshan Technology. Jingshan Technology, registrant, Gu Jiangwo. Gu Jiangwo, Gu Jingyan's father. I tightened my grip on the phone. That is to say, I haven't directly confirmed anything with you. These are developments in the investigation, and it's still ongoing, but I think you have the right to know. Understood. Father Gu didn't just spend money to hire a lawyer to clean up his son's mess. He may have been involved in this whole industry chain from the very beginning. The technical source of that fake video suddenly made sense. It wasn't something Su Wanner was capable of doing, it was given by Gu's father. The whole chain of events suddenly became crystal clear. Su Wanner's cousin Su Mao was the middleman selling the equipment. Gu's father's company was one link in the equipment supply chain, and Su Wanner was responsible for sales and organization at school. These 3 people, from top to bottom, formed a complete chain of interests, and the 56 students in our class were nothing more than their leaks. After being cut, they were still speaking up for the sickle. 18. Once the news spread, 54 families could no longer sit still. To be precise, the fury of 54 families had finally found its proper target. they no longer cursed me, they began cursing Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan. On the afternoon of the 7th day, more than 30 parents jointly wrote a letter and submitted it to the Public Security Bureau, demanding that criminal responsibility be pursued for Su Wanner and Su Mao's organization of cheating, while also demanding that legal responsibility be pursued for Gu Jiangwo's provision of cheating equipment. The last paragraph of the letter reads, "Our children are indeed at fault, but Su Wanner and Su Mao lured minors into cheating for profit, and Gu Jiangwo's company provided supply channels for the cheating devices. They are the real masterminds. We demand that the law severely punish these people." More than 30 families signed and stamped it. The screenshot of this letter was sent to me by teacher Chen Nienan. "Did you see it? The parents have finally woken up. How do you see it? Whether they're sober or not has nothing to do with me. What I care about is my mom's injuries, the fact that I was falsely accused, and Su Ru's slander. Those are the things that have really fallen on me. They chose to cheat themselves, and the lifetime ban from exams is what they deserve. As for who organized it and who provided it, that's a matter for the police and the courts. As for these parents suddenly turning to my side, it's nothing more than because they found a bigger scapegoat, not because I was innocent, because Su Weiner was more guilty than their child." Teacher Chen remained silent for a long time. "You were right." After hanging up the phone, I put the phone on the table. The sky outside the window was already growing dark. So much has happened these past few days, so tightly packed together, as fast as a runaway train, but no one knows better than I do that this train is far from reaching its destination. The 8th day, Gu Jiangwo was taken to the Public Security Bureau. Not as a witness, as a criminal suspect. The Jingshan Technology company under his name was sealed off. The police found more than 400 unsold cheating devices in the company's warehouse, along with transfer records to 6 middlemen within the province. Su Mao was also arrested on the same day. He was hiding in a small hotel in a neighboring province, carrying a suitcase full of cash, all the money he had made from selling cheating devices over the past few years. When the news reached Su Wanner's family, Su's mother smashed bowls all over the rented apartment. Su's mother had been selling youtiao at the morning market for more than 10 years, rising early and working late just to put her daughter through college. She had no idea that her nephew Su Mao was running this kind of business. She had no idea that her daughter had not only bought equipment, but was also helping Su Mao promote it at school. Nor did she know that for every set of equipment sold, Su Wanner received 100 yuan promotion fee from Su Mao. 56 sets of equipment, 5,600 yuan. That was where Su Wanner's pocket money came from. Those pretty dresses, cosmetics, and new phones of hers, all were bought with her classmates' futures. At this point, the truth was completely laid bare. Su Wanner was not some naive and ignorant class beauty. She was an 18-year-old clerk at a chain convenience store. She carefully selected her targets, choosing classmates who had average grades, ordinary family backgrounds, a longing for prestigious universities, but not enough methods to get there. Using the pitch that, "It's cheaper if everyone buys together," she tied the whole class to her wagon. Then, when everything was exposed, they immediately shoved the blame onto me. I knew nothing about any of this in my previous life. Back then, all I knew was the fists on the rooftop and the feeling of falling. In this life, I stood in a safe place, watching everything with perfect clarity. The drama is far from over. 19. The case has officially entered the judicial process. After the procuratorate got involved, the first people summoned were Su Wanner and Gu Jingyan. Also summoned along with them were Su Mao and Gu Jiangwo. Meanwhile, the civil lawsuit I filed was also officially docketed: malicious false accusation, intentional injury, evidence forgery, and online defamation, with each cause of action filed separately. My lawyer told me the court schedule would move quickly, and the first hearing was set for 3 weeks later. During the days I waited for the hearing, I did another thing. I wrote down my own story. It's not to post it online again and get into a war of words. Rather, the new students at Tsinghua and Peking University need to submit a personal experience statement. I wrote about my 3 years of tutoring all my classmates. I wrote about the process of preparing for competitions. Wrote down the conversation I overheard that afternoon at the corner of the hallway. Wrote down the chaos at the school gate. Didn't write about being reborn. Something like that wouldn't be believed even if I wrote it down. Mr. Chen helped me write a recommendation letter, and Zhou Yi also helped me write a statement of circumstances. The day after I mailed out the materials, a professor from the math department at Tsinghua University and Peking University called me. "You're Lin Yenan, the one who won the gold medal at the national finals." "It's me. I've read your paper, the one published last year in the Journal of Mathematical Physics about elliptic curves. Very interesting. We didn't expect it to have been written by a high school student. When we were reviewing it before, we all thought the author was at least a graduate student. Thank you, Professor. After the semester starts, come directly to my research group to report. There's a project waiting for you. After hanging up the phone, I sat at my desk for a long time. The Lin Yenin of my previous life also had these achievements: gold medals, papers, and guaranteed admission qualifications. She had them all, but she spent all her time and energy tutoring her classmates, tutoring so much that I didn't even have time to prepare for the competition sprint, tutoring so much that my own paper almost missed the submission deadline. She thought her efforts would be met with kindness. What she got instead was 56 mocking laughs on the rooftop. I won't make the same mistake in this lifetime. My time, my abilities, my kindness, I'll only give them to those who deserve them. 3 weeks later, the court is in session. The gallery was packed. Nearly half of Class 11's parents had come, and several media outlets were also present. I sat in the plaintiff's seat. Sue Warner sat in the defendant's seat, separated by the court's railing. She and I locked eyes. She had lost a lot of weight, her cheeks sunken, dark circles under her eyes. These days have been hard, but there was no regret in her eyes. There was even a hint of a sinister glint. Defendant Sue Warner, the judge opened the case materials. You are accused of making false statements to frame someone else as the organizer of cheating, after being caught cheating in the college entrance examination venue. What do you have to say about this charge? Sue Warner stood up. She didn't look at the judge, she looked at me. Judge, I admit I lied. The whole courtroom fell silent. But the reason I lied is because I was forced into a dead end. Her voice was not loud, but every word was crystal clear. Lin Yenin, she ranks first in the entire school, has competition gold medals, and is recommended admission to Tsinghua and Peking University. She has everything, and me, my mom works from dawn till dusk selling fried dough sticks to put me through school. I know I can't get into a good university, so I bared my heart and soul trying to find a shortcut. Yes, I did something wrong, but what about her? She clearly knew the testing equipment at this year's exam venue had been upgraded. Her dad is the person in charge. She knew everything, and she said nothing. When she slapped 600 yuan down in front of me, she didn't even blink. She was just watching us make fools of ourselves. So I lied, because I hated her. A murmur broke out in the courtroom. The judge rapped the gavel twice. Order in the court. Then he looked at me. Does the plaintiff have anything to say? I stood up. Your Honor, I have 3 things to say. First, 3 days before Sue Warner initiated the purchase of cheating equipment, I privately warned the classmates in my class not to do anything stupid. Witness Zhou Yi can testify to that. Second, Sue Warner said she was forced by circumstances to do it for her future, but in fact, she received a 100 yuan kickback from her cousin Sue Mao for every set of equipment she sold, 56 sets, 5,600 yuan. Her motive was not just her future, but also profit. Third, I looked at Sue Warner. She said she hated me because I had everything and she had nothing. But Your Honor, none of the things I have, the gold medal, the thesis, the guaranteed admission, fell from the sky. I spent 2 years preparing for the national competition, and only after 11 o'clock every night could I start reviewing my own coursework, because all my daytime hours were spent on competition prep and helping my classmates with tutoring. For 3 years, I tutored Sue Warner in math 72 times, helped Gu Jingnian write out English vocabulary over 100 times, and made revision plans for all 56 students in the class. Not a single person ever said thank you. Not a single person ever cared why I never took a break on weekends. The way they repaid me was by pushing me out to take the fall at the very first moment after the incident. Sue Warner said that she hated me for having everything, but what she hated was not what I had. What she hated was that she didn't even have the ability to scheme against me. 20. After the trial ended, those words were turned into a report by the journalists in attendance. The headline read, "She helped the entire class for 3 years, and the whole class wanted to ruin her life." It shot to the top of the national trending list overnight. My name, my competition results, my thesis, the details of my tutoring classmates, all of it was dug up. Several professors from the math departments at Tsinghua and Peking University shared this report in an academic group chat, saying, "I reviewed this student's thesis myself, and it was of solid quality. Someone like this almost had their future ruined by a group of cheating classmates." There is a lot the education sector needs to reflect on. Too many people flooded into the comments section, and the server even lagged for a while. I turned off my phone. No smugness, no excitement. I also had these achievements in my previous life, when I died on the rooftop. But in that world, no one knew. and no one cared. All the attention I have now is only because this matter is too dramatic. The whole class of cheating students framing the only innocent person. A story like that is naturally explosive in terms of traffic. They care about the story, not me. I was very clear about that. What really matters is not traffic, but the justice the law gives me. A week later, the verdict came down. Sue Warner, crime of organizing exam cheating, crime of false accusation and framing, crime of forging evidence, multiple crimes combined for punishment. Because she is a minor, she receives a lighter penalty, but the combined sentence is still 1.5 years in a juvenile detention center, suspended for 2 years, and permanently banned from taking the National College Entrance Examination. Gu Jingnian, crime of false accusation and framing, 1 year in a juvenile detention center, suspended for 1 year, permanently barred from taking exams. Su Mao, crime of organizing exam cheating, crime of illegal business operations, sentenced to 4 years in prison and fined 200,000 yuan. Gu Jiangwo, crime of providing cheating equipment, crime of illegal business operations, sentenced to 3.5 years in prison and fined 500,000 yuan. The company's business license is revoked in accordance with the law. Su Mu, intentional injury, minor injury, second degree, sentenced to 3 months of criminal detention, suspended for 6 months, and ordered to pay my mother a total of 68,000 yuan in medical expenses and compensation for emotional distress. Gu Fu, intentional injury, minor injury, sentenced to 15 days of administrative detention, and ordered to pay my father 12,000 yuan in medical expenses. Su Ru, cyber defamation, sentenced to 2 months of criminal detention, suspended for 4 months, required to issue a public apology, and ordered to pay 10,000 yuan in compensation for emotional distress. The remaining 54 classmates, the education examination authorities have imposed a lifetime ban on taking exams in accordance with regulations. Since most of them were instigated by Sue Warner to participate, and all were minors, no criminal liability will be pursued. The night the verdict was announced, my parents and I sat at home and ate a simple meal. The wound on Mom's forehead had already scabbed over, leaving a faint white mark. Dad's face still bore the bruised remnants left by Gu's father's punch. Is it over? Mom asked me. The case that should be closed has been closed. I picked up a bite of food with my chopsticks and put it into her bowl. The road ahead is still long. Peking University and Tsinghua. School starts 2 months later. Mom's eyes turned red. Mom just feels sorry for you. An 18-year-old should be enjoying the break after the college entrance exam. While you're dealing with the court, there's nothing worth feeling sorry about. I smiled. Being alive is the best outcome I could have hoped for. Mom didn't understand what that meant. Dad probably didn't understand it either, but I know, in my previous life, I never even got to see this day. 21. On the third day after the verdict, our home was visited once again by uninvited guests, not 1 or 2, more than a dozen. There was a commotion downstairs. I pushed open the window and looked down, and saw a group of parents blocking the entrance to the building. They were carrying fruit, milk, eggs, and nutritional supplements. It looked as if they had come to pay New Year's visits, but their expressions were not festive. They were embarrassed, uneasy, awkward, not knowing where to put their hands. At the front was a middle-aged woman in a plaid shirt. I thought for a moment, and realized she was Xiao Kang's mother. Xiao Kang is the physical education monitor in our class. He is tall and sturdy, and in my past life, he kicked me twice on the rooftop. Nianan, is Nianan home? Xiao's mother tilted her head back and shouted upstairs. I went downstairs. When I opened the unit door, more than a dozen parents all took a step back in unison. They looked at me, some lowered their heads, some turned their faces away, and not a single one dared meet my eyes. Nianan, Mother Zhao handed over a carton of milk, her hands trembling slightly. We're here on behalf of Class 11's parents. We wanted to say to you and your mother, sorry, that day at the school gate, we were in the wrong. We were too impulsive and acted before we'd figured anything out. How is your mom's injury? Is she feeling any better? A group of parents behind her chimed in all at once. Yes, Nianan, your mom got 4 stitches. We really feel bad about it. We were all tricked by that girl Sue Warner. We thought it really was you who organized it. Nianan, please be magnanimous and forgive us. Take the things back. I didn't take the box of milk. Mother Zhao froze. I accept the apology, but I won't say, it's okay, because there is indeed a connection. More than 100 of you surrounded my mother and beat her that day. She needed 4 stitches in her head, and even now she still gets headaches. How many of you actually laid hands on her? You know full well yourselves. The court has already ruled on the medical expenses that should be compensated. As for the apology that should be made, you came here to say it today, I know, but, I looked at each of them, you didn't come here today just to apologize, did you? Mother Zhao's expression froze for a second. Nianan, could you help ask around a bit? About the lifetime ban on taking exams, is there really no room for any leniency at all? I knew it, they are not here to apologize, they are here to plead. I can't help, Nianan, Aunt Zhao, a lifetime ban from taking exams is a Ministry of Education policy, not something any one person can change. You should be asking a lawyer, not coming to an 18-year-old girl. I know your children were also taken in by Sue Warner, but they paid for the equipment themselves, and they put it behind their own ears themselves. When they walked into the exam hall, no one had a knife to their throats. They alone have to bear the consequences. I closed the door, the window upstairs rattled slightly. Mom pushed it open and looked down. When I went upstairs, she was standing at the door. She said nothing, only reached out and patted my head. Mom, I'm hungry, I'll make you some noodles. 22. The tail end of July, half of summer vacation had passed. The admission letters from Tsinghua and Peking University had arrived. When the EMS courier rang the doorbell, Dad went to open the door. He took the big red envelope, his fingers trembling. Nianan, I walked out of the room. Dad handed me the envelope and turned around to wipe his eyes. Mom rushed out from the kitchen, still wearing her apron and hadn't even had time to take it off. Is it the admission letter? Hurry, open it. The craft paper envelope was torn open, and inside was an admission letter stamped with gold lettering, Qingbei University, School of Mathematical Sciences. My daughter got into Tsinghua or Peking University. Mom snatched the acceptance letter and held it overhead, turning around 3 times in the living room. I've taught for more than 20 years at the morning market. No, I'm on the parents' committee. No, that's not it. She rambled incoherently for a while, and in the end sat on the sofa clutching the acceptance letter and burst into tears. You've always been such a worry-free child. For 3 years. You never made me worry about your studies. You only knew how to tutor your classmates. Now that's great. You've been admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University without the exam. Mom, please stop crying. I sat beside her and wiped away her tears. That's a good thing. I know it's a good thing. I'm just happy. Dad stood on the balcony making phone calls, calling Grandpa and Grandma on Mom's side, and all the relatives. Nianan got admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University without taking the entrance exam. Yes, Tsinghua and Peking University, the math department. It was the most lively afternoon of that summer, but this summer vacation wasn't all good news. The day after the admission letter arrived, I got a call from Zhou Yi. Nianan, my exam eligibility has been restored. The appeal was approved, passed. The examination board verified that I truly didn't bring or use any cheating devices, and the hallway surveillance also proved that by the time Sue Wana handed out the devices, I had already left the classroom. My exam eligibility has been restored, and I'm allowed to take next year's college entrance examination. Excellent, but I'll be repeating a year. There was no sense of grievance in Zhou Yi's voice, only a calm statement of fact. So I can only go to college next year. A year is not long, I know. He fell silent for a moment. Nianan, thank you. What for? Thank you for letting me know that not following the crowd is not cowardice. On the day when 56 people pooled their money to buy equipment, only you and I didn't go along with it. You're not buying it because you're going to be automatically admitted. I'm not buying it because I'm poor, but the result is the same. We're the only 2 people in the class who are innocent. I laughed. You didn't not buy it because you're poor. You didn't buy it because you have a clear mind. All right. He also smiled. This was one of the rare conversations this summer that made me feel warm. 23. At the end of August, a week before school started, I'm packing my suitcase. Mom is by the side, practically wanting to pack up the entire kitchen for me to take to school. Should I bring the quilt? Does the school provide one? Yes. Where's the thermos? The school has a water heater. Then bring a few packets of goji berries and soak them in water to drink. Mom, what's wrong? Put the goji berries down. While I was in a tug-of-war with my mom over the zipper on my suitcase, my phone rang. An unknown number. Hello, may I ask if you're Lin? Nianan, it's me. I'm a reporter from the Jiangxing Evening News. My surname is Zhang. I'd like to interview you about the aftermath of Class 11's college entrance exam cheating case. Sorry, I don't do interviews. Student Lin, the angle of our report is, I don't accept any angle, thank you. I hung up the phone. This was already the 6th journalist to call this month, since Sue Warner was sentenced. This matter has been spreading like wildfire locally. Some people tried to stake out my home, but the security guards turned them away. Some people dug up my social media accounts online, but I wiped them clean. I don't want to become a symbol of a public event, I just want to study my books in peace. That night after I finished packing my suitcase, I went up to the rooftop alone, not the rooftop at my house. It was the one at school. I deliberately took a detour back to Jiangxing No. 1 high school. The security guard recognized me and let me into the campus at the end of August. The school was deserted, summer vacation hadn't ended yet, and all the lights in the teaching buildings were off. I walked up the stairs, floor by floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. The classroom for class 11 is on this floor. The door wasn't locked, so I pushed it open and took a look inside. The desks were still the same as before, the blackboard had been wiped clean, and the paper note with the countdown to the college entrance exam had been torn off, leaving only a few thumbtack holes. I stood in front of the podium for a while. Over the past 3 years, how many problems had I explained for my classmates from this podium? After school, there was always someone gathering around me. Nyenan, I don't know how to do this problem. Nyenan, help me look over this essay. Nyenan, can you help me mark the key points for tomorrow's mock exam? I had never refused, until they pushed me off the rooftop. I closed the classroom door and kept walking up. 5th floor, 6th floor. The iron door on the rooftop was half open, covered in rust. I pushed the door open and stepped outside. The night wind was strong, all the lights of Jiangxing spread out beneath my feet. This is the place where I fell in my previous life. I stood in front of the railing from the 6th floor. Looking down gives a feeling of dizziness. In my previous life, my fingers gripped this railing, and little by little, I lost my strength. 56 smiling faces looked down at me. No one reached out. The night wind blew over, and my hair stuck to my face. I tucked my hair behind my ears and took a step back. This was the end of my previous life, and it was also the beginning of this one. You want to destroy me, I said to the empty rooftop. Didn't get destroyed. He turned and went downstairs. As he was leaving the school gate, his phone rang again. It was Zhou. Nyenan, where are you? School? What are you going to school for so late? To say goodbye to the past. He fell silent for a moment. So, have you said your goodbye? It's all over. Then go home early. Okay. 24 September 1 St. Tsinghua University and Peking University start classes. My parents drove me to school. On the way, Mom cried the whole time again in the car, saying things like, "This is the first time since I was little that I've been away from her," and similar things. Dad handed her tissues while driving, saying, "Don't cry anymore," but his eyes were red too. I sat in the back seat, watching the scenery outside the window speed past. Jiangxing was getting farther and farther away. Those people and those events were also growing distant. On the day of registration, the senior from the math department was welcoming new students at the entrance of the dormitory building. "You're Lin Nyenan, the one who won the gold medal at the national finals." "It's me." "Awesome." The senior gave a thumbs up. "Professor Lee has been waiting for you, and said that once you arrive, you should report to his office." Professor Lee was the one who had called me earlier. His research group is studying a cutting-edge topic, the classification of a certain class of special manifolds in algebraic geometry. As soon as I had put away my luggage, I went to the office. Professor Lee was over 60, with gray hair, and spoke very quickly. "Here, sit down. Have you read Growth Index EGA? I skimmed through it." "Just skimming won't do. Start rereading from volume 1. Write me a reading report before October." "Okay." And that's how my graduate life began. I thought my life had finally gotten back on track, but Sue Warner didn't think so. In mid-October, a letter arrived at my dormitory in Qingbei. No signature, no address, only 4 words were written on the envelope. To Lin Nyenan. I opened it. There was only one sheet of paper inside, with a crooked line written on it, in Sue Warner's handwriting, which I recognized. "You ruined my life. I won't forget. Just wait." I watched for 3 seconds. I took a photo, sent it to my lawyer, then I folded the letter in half and tucked it into the last page of the folder. It might come in handy someday. My roommate leaned over and asked me, "Nyenan, who sent the letter?" "Nothing, an old classmate, high school classmate." "How romantic." "Not romantic at all." I closed the folder. A week later, the lawyer replied. An application had been submitted to the court to use the letter as evidence that Sue Warner had continued to threaten the victim during her probation period, and it was recommended to apply for revocation of probation and enforcement of the original sentence. I replied with 2 words, "Agreed." 25 November, Sue Warner's probation was revoked. She was taken into custody to serve a 1.5-year juvenile detention sentence. When the news came, I was in the library reading. The message from the lawyer was very brief. "The probation revocation order has been issued. Sue Warner was sent to the juvenile detention center this morning. The phone screen lit up for 3 seconds before going dark. I turned a page in a book. It had nothing to do with me anymore, but someone always tried to make it have something to do with me. In the afternoon, an unfamiliar number called. Lynn Nianan, I'm Sue Warner's mother. Sue's mother's voice had changed completely. Gone was the arrogance and aggression she had shown that day at the school gate. Gone were the sharp insults of little slut and old slut. All that remained was the pleading of a middle-aged woman who was on the verge of falling apart. Nianan, I'm begging you, please drop the charges. My daughter's been sent to a juvenile detention center, and my life is ruined. I can't even keep my stall at the morning market anymore. I still owe the fine. Sue Mouse's been taken in too, and I'm the only one left at home. Please, you've already gotten into Tsinghua and Peking University. Your future is bright and promising, but my daughter has already lost everything. Is that enough? Please let her go. As I listened to her voice, 2 images surfaced in my mind. One was from my previous life. After I fell from the rooftop, my mom cried every day at home until she finally took her own life. The other was in this life, when Sue's mother grabbed my mom by the hair at the school gate and pinned her to the ground, beating her. 2 images overlap. Aunt Sue, my voice was very calm. During her probation period, she sent me a threatening letter. She brought this on herself. She was just angry at the time. Can you threaten people just because you're angry? When you were angry that day and hit my mom, was that what you were thinking too? There was silence on the other end of the line. If she truly reflects on herself, serves her sentence properly in the juvenile detention center, and then tries to live an honest life after getting out, she still has a long life ahead of her. But if she keeps hating me and threatening me, then her path will only get narrower and narrower. This isn't something I can decide, it's up to her. I hung up the phone. The number was deleted. Ginkgo leaves outside the window had fallen all over the ground in a golden yellow. The autumn at Tsinghua and Peking University is beautiful. I closed my book, left the library, and walked slowly along the campus path. The phone rang again. Zhou Yi sent a message. Nianan, I ranked 3rd in the whole school on the mock exam. There shouldn't be any problem with the college entrance exam next year. I replied with a smiley face. Keep it up. See you at Tsinghua or Peking University next year. 26. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In his 2nd year taking the college entrance examination, Zhou Yi ranked 17th in the province and was admitted to the Department of Physics at Qingbei University. On the day he reported to the school, I went to the station to pick him up. He was still as quiet as he had been in high school, carrying an old suitcase and wearing a t-shirt washed so many times it had faded white. Why did you come in person? You only know me. If I don't come, who will? That's true. He smiled. That was the most relaxed I had ever seen him smile. I took him around the campus for a walk. When we passed the mathematics department building, he stopped to look at the department introduction at the entrance. Are you doing okay in Professor Lee's research group? I heard he's especially strict, but I learned a lot. Have you finished that new paper of yours? The first draft is done. I'm revising it. When will it be published? My advisor asked me to submit to the Annals of Mathematics. Zhou Yi turned his head to look at me. The Annals of Mathematics, that's, it may not get accepted, but my advisor said it's worth a try. You submitted to the Annals of Mathematics at 19, what are you trying to say? Nothing. He looked at the road ahead. I just think those people aren't worthy of being your classmates. I didn't respond. Those people, the classmates from my previous life, the classmates from this life, the same group of people. The same ending, except that in this life, they weren't able to drag me down with them. Let's not talk about them. I took him to the cafeteria. Let's eat first. My treat. Why should you be the one to treat me? Because I'm your senior. It's only 1 year apart. Still a senior. He didn't argue anymore, and sat down with me in the corner, holding his tray. The cafeteria was very noisy, but when I sat across from him eating, I felt quiet. This feeling was completely different from the years in my previous life when I poured all my energy into those 56 people. In those years, I thought that giving would be rewarded. Now I know that what matters isn't how much you gave, it's who you gave it to. Zhou Yi wasn't the person I gave the most to, but he was the only one who stood up for me and spoke up for me when everyone else had given up on me. Just for this alone, he's worth my trip to the station. Nianan, you smiled. I've been smiling all along. No, before, when you smiled, your eyes didn't smile. I was taken aback. Now they do. 27. The winter of my sophomore year, an unexpected person appeared. I was in the lab rushing to revise my paper when my phone buzzed. A message from Teacher Chen. Nianan, Gu Jingnian has been released. His sentence in the juvenile detention center was 1 year. The probation period has been in effect for more than half a year. It was up before he had even spent less than half a year inside. I replied with a single word, He came looking for me. Teacher Chen sent another message. He said he wanted your contact information. I didn't give it to him. Thank you, Teacher Chen. Yenan, be careful. After the Gu family's company was revoked, Gu's father ran up quite a few debts, and I heard life hasn't been going well for them. Gu Jingyan doesn't have a university to attend now, and there's no company for him to take over either. His emotions probably aren't very stable. I put down my phone and kept revising my thesis, but I stayed on guard. Indeed, 3 days later, Gu Jingyan appeared at the entrance of Qingbei University. I saw him when I went to the cafeteria for lunch at noon. He was standing by the main road outside the west gate, wearing a worn black coat, hands in his pockets, his gaze sweeping across the faces of everyone coming in and out of the school gate. I was wearing a hat, so he didn't recognize me. I took a detour and entered the school through the south gate, then called the school security office. There is a suspicious person loitering and keeping watch near the school gate, possibly looking for a specific student. I have previously suffered harassment and personal threats from this person, and there are court judgment records and a personal protection order. The security office called back 10 minutes later. Classmate Lin, that person has already been persuaded to leave. He claimed to be your high school classmate and said he wanted to see you. I don't want to see him. If he shows up again, please call the police directly. Understood. Hung up the phone. Zhou Yi somehow came up behind me. Is that Gu Jingyan? How did you know? I saw him when I passed by the west gate just now. He's changed a lot, lost a lot of weight, and the whole person looked. He thought for a moment about his choice of words. Not quite right. Whether something's off with him or not, it has nothing to do with me anymore. But be careful when you go out lately, okay? 2 days later, Gu Jingyan appeared again. This time, it wasn't at the school gate, it was in a cafe on campus. I don't know how he got in. When I pushed open the door of the cafe and went in, he was already sitting at a corner table. I recognized him at a glance. He also recognized me. Yenan. He stood up. He looks even thinner than the last time. Downstairs at my place, his cheekbones are sharply protruding, as if he hasn't had a proper meal in a long time. You sit, I'll just say a couple of things. I didn't sit down. He stepped back half a pace, his hand already reaching for his phone. Yenan, don't be afraid. I'm not here to cause trouble. He gave a bitter smile. I'm here to apologize. A real apology, not like before, when I came to beg you to let me off with an ulterior motive. He took a handwritten letter out of his pocket. This was written during the 6 months I spent inside. I wrote it many times, and in the end only this one was left. If you don't want to read it, just throw it away. He put the letter on the table. There's one more thing. He lowered his head. That day at the school gate, I pointed at you and said you forced us to buy cheats. That was the most disgusting thing I've ever done in my life. I clearly knew it wasn't you. I just didn't dare admit that it was my own cowardice, my own greed, my own stupidity, so I pushed all the blame onto you. Yenan, I'm sorry. After saying that, he didn't wait for my response and turned to walk out of the cafe. I stood there and looked at the letter on the table for a long time, then I picked it up and tucked it into my pocket. After I got back to the dorm, I opened it. The page was packed with dense handwriting, filling 5 whole pages. He wrote about the days in childhood when we went to school and came home together, about every night during the 3 years of high school when I helped him with his English tutoring, and about how he slowly came to understand himself over the 6 months inside. The last paragraph said, I don't ask for your forgiveness, I just want you to know I was wrong, not because I was sentenced, not because my dad's company went under, not because I lost everything, it's because I came to understand one thing. You were the only person in the class who was truly good to me, and I destroyed that kindness with my own hands. I should bear the cost of that myself. No matter what your life is like in the future, I wish you well. Don't look back at people like us anymore. I folded the letter and put it in the bottom drawer. No reply. We would never meet again. 28. In the spring of my junior year, my paper passed review by the Annals of Mathematics and was officially published. The day the news came out, Professor Lee did something unprecedented and treated the entire research group to a lavish meal, publishing in the Annals of Mathematics at 20. Do you know what that means? Professor Lee raised his glass. It means you can go much farther than I ever could. Thank you, Professor. The news made its way back to Jiangxing. My mom sent a voice message in the family group chat, her voice trembling uncontrollably. My daughter's paper got published in, the professor said it's one of the world's top mathematics journals. the group chat was flooded with congratulatory voice messages. Dad didn't send a voice message, he sent me a private message. Daughter, Dad is proud of you. I sent back a hug emoji. The scar on Mom's head had completely faded. Dad's bruise had long since disappeared. The household had returned to its normal rhythm, even better than before. Dad performed outstandingly at the Examination Institute and was promoted to section chief at the beginning of the year. Mom served as a volunteer team leader in the community and was full of energy. They bought a larger house in Jiangcheng. The balcony faces south and gets plenty of light. Mom arranged a row of flower pots on the balcony. Every time we have a video call, she has to point her phone at the flowers to show me, look at this pot of jasmine, it opened 3 more blossoms today. Mom, you can just look at it yourself. Even if I look, I still can't smell it. Once you come home on vacation, you'll be able to smell it. These ordinary, warm moments of everyday life, I never got to enjoy even a single day of them in my previous life, because at this point in my previous life, I had already been dead for 2 years and my parents had already. I won't think about it. The story of this life is a new one. In the second semester of my junior year, I received an email, an invitation to visit as a scholar at an international mathematical research institute for 1 year in Paris. After reading the email, Professor Lee said, "Go, Professor, but my project here, I'll take care of the project for now, go and see a bigger world." After Zhou Yi learned about this, he sat dazed in the cafeteria for a while. 1 year, yes, then you? He lowered his head and poked at the scrambled eggs with tomatoes on his plate. "You just said I can attend your research group's classes next semester. Attending as an auditor doesn't require me to be there." Then, he finally lifted his head. "Can I write you a letter?" Who still writes letters these days? Just send a WeChat message. WeChat is too fast. I want to write slowly. I looked at him, his ears turned red. "Okay, then you write, I'll reply." 29. 5 years later, I'm 25. My visiting scholarship in Paris was extended by 6 months, and after returning to China, I stayed at Tsinghua and Peking University to pursue a PhD. In my 3rd year of doctoral studies, I won the youngest young scholar award in the Chinese mathematics community. On the day of the award ceremony, Professor Lee sat in the audience applauding. When he posted the photo to Moments, his caption was only 4 words, "The younger generation is to be feared." Zhou Yi was also in the audience. After completing his undergraduate studies, he stayed at Qingbei to pursue a direct PhD in physics. We're not in the same department, but on different floors of the same lab building. Every noon we met in the cafeteria. He was always 5 minutes earlier than me, and would get my meal ready. On the night the award ceremony ended, we walked down a narrow alley beside the school. The streetlights stretched our shadows very long. "Nianan, 5 years ago, I said I would write you letters, right? You wrote nearly 100, 103. You replied with 104, the extra one was the one you wrote on your own. Why are you counting so clearly?" He stopped walking. He took a small box out of his coat pocket, because I kept every single one. He opened the box. It wasn't a ring, it was a small silver bookmark. Engraved on the bookmark was a line of text, "You deserve to be taken seriously. I know you don't like anything too formal." He handed the bookmark to me. "So it's not a ring. When you ever want it to become a ring, just tell me." I took the bookmark. My fingertips brushed the cool touch of metal. "Zhou Yi, did you start liking me back in high school?" Then why did you never say anything?" "Because at that time there were 56 people around you. You helped this one with tutoring, helped that one organize notes. Your time was split up by everyone, and I couldn't squeeze in. And then later they all left. Only you remained. That was when I realized you had always been alone." I clenched the bookmark in my hand. The night wind blew in from the alley entrance. "That thing about turning into a ring, you won't have to wait too long." Under the streetlight, his expression changed from tense to disbelieving, then it turned into a very beautiful smile. 30. Reports on the award ceremony appeared on several academic public accounts. Someone dug up the old news article from 5 years ago in the comments section. She helped the whole class for 3 years, and the whole class wanted to ruin her life. The comments below were like this: "That girl from the college entrance exam cheating case, she's already won a Young Scholar Award now. I started following her 5 years ago when she said those words in court. I knew I wasn't wrong about her. What happened to the classmates who cheated now? I did not go to watch. It's not that I don't want to know, it's that I don't need to know, but some news didn't need me to go looking for it. It would find its way to me on its own." The year I graduated with my doctorate, I went back to Jiangxing to attend an anniversary celebration at my old middle school. Teacher Chen had retired, but she made a special trip from home to see me. She had grown a lot older, her hair completely white, but she was still in good spirits. And Ian, seeing you like this now, I'm relieved. She held my hand as we walked through the campus. When we reached the building below the teaching building, she paused. Do you know about those children's situation? I don't know, and I don't really want to. No, then I'll say a couple of things, she sighed. After Sue Warner got out of the juvenile detention center, she had no education and no skills, and helped out at her mother's stall for a while. Later, the stall couldn't stay open anymore, and her mother's health fell apart. She went to work in a factory in the south. Heard that life there was very hard. Gu Jingnian, after his dad got out of prison, the family's house was even taken away to pay off debts. He had no school to attend, no job, and kept running into dead ends. I heard he went to a construction site to carry bricks, and only came back after getting injured. As for the other 54, a few of them honestly learned a skilled trade, and life was fairly decent. Most of the others just ended up the same way, without college entrance exam eligibility. The road ahead is very narrow. After hearing this, I said nothing. In my previous life, after I died, they all went on to college smoothly and lived ordinary, normal lives, and my mom, after losing me, fell into depression and took her own life. My dad, after losing my mom, stopped eating and sleeping, and his hair turned white overnight. The injustice of that world has already been corrected by this one. I feel no pleasure. There was no sympathy either. It was just nothing more than the two words, cause and effect. Teacher Chen, would you like to come up and sit for a while? I pointed at the teaching building. Up where? The rooftop. She hesitated for a moment. 6th floor. My old legs. I'll help you. I supported Mr. Chen as we walked up, floor by floor. When we pushed open the iron door to the rooftop, the wind outside was very strong. Below Jiangqing one middle school is a river, across from which are densely packed residential buildings, and in the distance, rolling hills. I stood in front of the railing. The dizziness was gone. Nianan, why did you think of coming to the rooftop? Teacher Chen asked from the side. I held onto the railing and looked at the city in the distance. The wind blew over from the river, carrying a faint mist of moisture. Nothing, I just wanted to see how far you can see from here when you look ahead. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.